If you're a Columbus Blue Jackets fan, say aye.
Aye.
This is episode 16, season 2 of the Teal SportsTalk podcast. I'm your co-host, Evan Brown. That's your host, James Price. Wow. I mean, what more can we say?
Another Game 7? Never lost.
Leafs lose Game 7 against the Boston Bruins once again. Third year consecutively against the Bruins.
2 years consecutively.
But against the Bruins.
Against the Bruins, yeah.
Where do we really begin with this? I mean, obviously we have to start with Leafs first because this is the last time we're starting with the Leafs first, up until the draft maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, even then, I mean, the draft, we don't have a first round
Listen,
pick,
let's put it short and sweet right here. Failure of a season.
Yeah, blatantly obvious.
It was blatantly obvious. Last season, I gave them the benefit of the doubt because they took the Boston Bruins to Game 7, a young, inexperienced Leafs team, and they showed their might. They collapsed in Game 7. But with this series, well, not really series, Game 7, it wasn't even close.
I mean, we've talked about it in previous podcasts. We've talked about it in previous videos that the way the Leafs were going to win Game 7 was to contain the Bergeron, Pastrnak, Marchand line. And we talked about in the pod, stay out of the penalty box. The Leafs didn't take a penalty in that game. They did not take one penalty.
I don't think it was the issue of that. I think the issue is now I'm going to load up the ice times here on my phone.
Well, you could arguably let's break down what actually happened though. I mean, you look at it and it was turnovers. Travis Dermott in the first goal tries to fire puck up the middle of the ice. It doesn't get out of his own zone. Jake Gardner off the boards to nobody.
Nylander.
Well, that was been an empty net, but I mean, really
Still,
at that
though.
point.
And the play of Freddie Anderson wasn't on par. This is the first time in this series Tuukka Rask outplayed Freddie Anderson. I'm sorry, but
that's
Tuukka
not the game you want that to happen, Freddie.
But we can't blame him because he brought us to Game 7. If we didn't have Freddie Anderson, we wouldn't even be in the series whatsoever. Same as Jake Muzzin. If we didn't have Jake Muzzin at all, this wouldn't even be a Game 7.
By the way, Zach Hyman had a torn ACL in Game 6. He is having surgery on Monday, and he'll be done for training camp and the start of the season.
Wow. So for a minimum of 6 months.
Yeah.
That's massive hole, but who can replace him on the top line? I mean, I love Zach Hyman, but for a team that's going to go deep in the playoffs, quote unquote, Leaf fans are saying you do not want to have a Zach Hyman on your first line.
No, I tend to disagree for the fact if you talk about a guy who passes, that's Mitch Marner. A guy who shoots, John Tavares. And then the grindy guy to get the puck in the first place, that is Zach Hyman. And look, I go back to, Game 6 and 7, that line, Bergeron's line, tore apart Tavares' line. Now Bergeron was amazing on the faceoff dot in the final 3 games of the playoffs, but Marner didn't have a point. Tavares had that goal at the end, and then the empty netter in Game 1. Other than that, those guys really didn't do a whole lot.
They didn't. So going back to Zach Hyman here. Name another team, their first line that are in the Stanley Cup playoffs right now that have a Zach Hyman type on their first line. I can't think of anybody. I can't.
Honestly, though, at this point in time, nobody can predict anything with the NHL playoffs.
No, they can't. But if you look at first lines just around the league, not even in the playoffs, you don't see a grindy Zach Hyman on anyone's first line. Mike Babcock is known for loving his grinders and hard workers. I'm the first person to say that Zach Hyman is an extremely hard worker on this team.
Absolutely.
But he's not suited for the first line.
Right.
Not even the second line, in my opinion. He should be a third line guy, not fourth, maybe second line, but definitely a third line guy that can contribute. And how many minutes did he play? Let's see. He played more minutes than Austin Matthews. He played 18 minutes and 50 seconds.
Yeah, I know what you're trying to get at here. Is Austin Matthews only played 17 something.
You're down by 2 goals and you're sending out Freddie Gauthier in the fourth line.
Well, yeah, I guess 2 goals early in the third. Yes, I guess.
I mean, it's really not rocket science here. That's why I'm saying. I know
Mike Babcock plays all the. He doesn't. He loves playing matchups, but he also plays hot hands, and we saw a lot in Game 7 of Gauthier, Ennis, and Trevor Moore. Look, they were great. When your fourth line is your best line, that's a problem.
They're great, but you don't play Zach Hyman more minutes than Austin Matthews. That's just unbelievable that even happened. Or you throw out, when you need a goal, you throw out the fourth line. The fourth line looked great, but when you need a goal, you do not. Double shift Matthews, double shift Tavares. They can handle the ice time. I just don't understand it. And even when Mike Babcock's days in Detroit, he threw out, what was it, Justin Abdelkader a lot. He loved those Luke Glendening type of players. I mean, is he really the right coach for this team? I don't think so. I mean, him and Dubas obviously have an issue with communication, and I don't know if that's to do with their style of play or coaching or management or whatnot. It probably is, but they have to listen. If Dubas wants to keep Babcock around, they got to sit down and they got to sort these problems, man.
No, I think they will. I mean, obviously, they're both very professional
They didn't do
people.
this year.
I get that. But, I mean, you go with last year and you add John Tavares and you add a Jake Muzzin close to the deadline. You assume that you're going to be a lot better. Now, you've learned now that it's not just mathematical. It's not like it's just like, well, we were good before this. We had these two great players. We're gonna be good.
Them.
It's how you do it, and it's matchups, and it's the time on the ice that really matters. Look at, can you go do me a favor and check out Patrice Bergeron's minutes and Marchand, Pasternak's. Give me a little bit of their minutes and see how many minutes they played during that game in Game 7, because I'm assuming Patrice Bergeron, their guy, their MVP, their cornerstone of that team, probably played north 22 minutes a night. He probably did, because you know why? He's their best player. He only played
Bergeron played 17 minutes.
Okay. Maybe that's why Matthews only played 17.
But it doesn't matter, though. Like, you're down goals. They didn't probably throw him out there because they didn't need him.
And you think about it, right? If Mike Babcock is trying to make something happen, like you said, double shifting, because then he won't be facing Patrice Bergeron or David Krejci.
He can handle the
He might
minutes.
be out there with the third or fourth line against him, and then you have a matchup in your zone.
Brad Marchand played as many minutes as Zach Hyman. Like,
yeah.
I think that top line winger role is suited for somebody else. That's just me. Now, we did see that Matthews was playing a lot with Kasperi Kapanen and Andreas Johnsson. Okay, that's fine, but I mean, I don't know.
I mean, look, a guy that I'm not putting blame on at all, because there's no need to. A guy like Mitch Marner, where I other than the one of the first games of the playoffs, or when he had the couple block shots and then the shootout goal that he had. I mean, where was he? I didn't see a lot of Mitch Marner out in this series, and that guy is who leads this team. We talk about, yes, the Leafs have a lot of different guys who can lead the way, but I mean, yes,
Mitch Marner played 20 minutes
that's fine.
a night.
I get that, but look at his look at what he did,
5 shots on
right?
goal, -1. It wasn't the greatest.
Look at his points. How many points did he get in the series?
Let's see. Okay, so he had.
That's penalty minutes.
Yeah, I know. So
he had 1 assist there. He had what? So the 2 goals in Game 1. And then he had 2 assists.
4 points in 7 games. That's not bad.
I get that, but he didn't get anything in Game 5, 6, or 7. In the biggest games of the series, your guy didn't step up.
No,
and
he did it.
I get it. We can talk about Austin Matthews all day, but the minutes and stuff, that guy performed, and I do agree that he should have played a lot more minutes in Game 7. As well, he didn't. But Mitch Marner, I don't know. The big bad Bruins bullied him around, and clearly it got to him.
Yeah,
it wasn't the same Mitch Marner we got used to seeing.
And I think that we got to give more credit to Boston for shutting down Mitch Marner,
absolutely.
too.
Their focal point was Mitch Marner. He drives that line, Tavares and Zach Hyman, and plus Zach Hyman getting the torn ACL just adds to that.
But I think that, and with Kadri being out as well, that was a huge, massive loss for this team. And I honestly think that this might have been Kadri's last game as a Toronto Maple Leaf.
Yeah.
We can't have liabilities on this team when we need the players.
I get it. You have an alright regular season, and we know you're going to be physical in the playoffs, but there's being physical, and then there's being stupid.
There's being physical, like you said, and there's just seeing red mist. And Kadri, once Jake DeBrusk hit Patrick Marleau, wasn't and that wasn't a dirty hit whatsoever. He saw red mist. He didn't care the consequences. He just went after him, and it happened. I agree with the suspension. I'm not saying that he shouldn't have been suspended for the rest of the series. He should have.
Yeah.
And I think that we can use somebody like a Kadri, but doesn't go over the line.
Now, I gave you credit there in the Game 7 Leaf video, because you put it greatly before the last podcast. I think we mentioned in the last podcast as well. Kadri was not playing for the crest on the front of his jersey. He was playing for himself.
He wasn't thinking about the team at all.
No.
And after that game, I think it was game 3.
Game 2 or 3. I think it was game.
Right.
No, it was game 2, because we were down there for the
2.
square and we didn't see the third
right.
period see it happen.
You would have think that the locker room, who would have stepped up and said, dude, what were you thinking? Patty Marleau, the veterans? I mean, Babcock obviously showed his frustration with Kadri. But, and going to Mike Babcock, too, we understand that he's a Hall of Fame coach. Great coach. Great resume. But there's no... I don't know if he's the right coach for this team. Like, there's no fault in saying that. There's many coaches on paper. Dan Bilesma for the Sabres. It looked good. It didn't work out, right?
Jack Eichel happened.
well, that happened, but it just didn't work out. This might not work out, and we have a good coach in the Marlies, Sheldon Keefe, that could possibly move up.
And as the Toronto Marlies just swept the Rochester Americans and are on round 2.
And I saw a tweet this. Guess what Rasmus Sandin was doing? Sheldon Keefe was double shifting him.
Wow. Smart maybe.
Take notes, Babs.
He's like 19 or 18. You're double shifting him in a playoff
when you
game?
need a goal.
It's big.
Oh, for sure.
Shows you the faith and the trust that he has.
When it shows you what a coach should do when you're down a couple goals, you need your best players out there. It's not rocket science, but Mike Babcock is a stubborn guy, and he loves his grinders and hard workers. We all do. But when you need a goal, you don't throw those guys out there.
No, you don't.
You throw those guys out there when you're leading or if it's a tie game.
Right.
When you need 2 goals in Game 7 or in any game, you throw your best players. And we have 2 amazing centers.
Yep. And
we have 2 amazing lines, really.
Look, you look at the Washington Capitals. I understand they lost in round 1, but you go to their the Stanley Cup run last year. You saw a ton of Ovechkin. You saw a ton of Nicholas Backstrom, Kuznetsov. Those 2 lines are incredible. And obviously losing TJ Oshie was tough for them this year, but having him last year was absolutely massive for that team. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they had the depth in the third line and Brett Connolly and guys like that. When your top 2 lines are that good, you damn well play them.
Yeah.
You
that's what Barry Trotz did.
You don't just run 4 lines, and if a line's playing well, you double shift them. I don't care if it's the 4th line, because usually you're going to see 4th line versus 4th line. So you don't put the 4th line out there against the number 1 line just because they're playing well.
Yeah, I mean, now I have a question for you. Would you rather to give Mike Babcock 1 more year and let Sheldon Keefe be the assistant coach? And then whoever is the assistant coach now for the Leafs, I think it's DJ Smith or someone like that. So. He can go, or would you?
Or he can go to the coach of the Marlies. Why not?
Who?
DJ Smith.
I don't know if he'll accept that. But regardless, would you rather see Sheldon Keefe being assisted by Mike Babcock and Mike Babcock still being the head coach, or fire Babs and let Keefe just run with it?
That's tough. Because you don't want Sheldon Keefe to be assisted to Mike Babcock and then have them get the same ways and then have him as the coach and then have the same problems.
Or you don't want to throw an AHL coach, I don't think he's ever coached an NHL game, into the fire. Right. That's what the Edmonton Oilers did with Dallas Eakins, and look how that turned out.
And look at the way that's turned out. We're not going to get into the Oilers. That's a complete bombshell over there. Yeah. But, I mean, look, like you talked about, Mike Babcock's resume is something special. And I understand Leaf fans are angry, and I'm angry as well that the Leafs now get eliminated for the 3rd straight year in the first round, which sucks a lot. We also got to remember the core of this team is still under 23 years of age, and changes are imminent. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I think that Kyle Dubas is going to be making a move. Look, I think there's going to be tons of changes. You look at the way the whole Garrett Sparks situation was handled near the end of the season. It would not surprise me if he's moved. And heck, why not bring back Curtis McElhinney? I mean, he's a free agent now at the end of the season.
Because he's not being played in Carolina right now.
Right. I mean, but, he's a backup. It's not like it's just because he's old. He's backup. He hasn't been playing for,
I agree with you. I think that a change needs to be made, but I think we got to give Babs 1 more year.
I agree.
Kyle Dubas and Babcock need to sit down at a table with a cup of coffee or something, and they need to discuss their issues with each other.
They need to go through the tapes of each and every loss in the playoffs and say, okay, what could we have done differently here, and what can we do differently in going into next year and into next year's playoffs?
Because we have many free agents that are up. Jake Gardner's up.
Good riddance. As much as I hate to say it, I don't really hate to say it. To be honest with you.
Well, we can see to replace him with someone else. Maybe we can get Myers.
You saw the statistic about Jake Gardner, right? And how he is the worst plus minus in Game 7 history.
I did not know that.
He is a.
What is he minus? Okay, wait.
It's
hold on.
like 3
I'm gonna guess.
Sure.
I'm gonna say. Well, he's only played 3 Game 7s.
Right.
I'm going to say a minus 11.
Okay, well, he's a minus 10.
Oh, okay. Well, still, but
that is the worst.
Because last year I know he was a -5. The year
Right.
before that, what, maybe a -2.
And I think in this last game he was a -3.
Wow.
I mean,
He
gets
a lot of flack, and I'm a fan of Jake Gardner, but it's so hard to like him at points.
Look, I get it. I get it that he has usually great regular seasons, and I understand that
Other than this
he's
year.
got some great skating. Well, he was injured for quite a bit as well, but I understand that you have great regular season. I understand that he's still he's got a good shot. And he's a great skater in the playoffs. But when you in Game 7, the biggest game of every single series, you do stuff like that. I'm sorry. Like, I cut him some slack last year. I understand -5 is horrendous. I get that. But it's one time, whatever. You move on from that. And it's back in 2013. He was a lot younger. So I was okay with that.
You can argue last year he screwed up more than this year. This year he gave up the puck, whatever. But last year I think he gave 2 goals, I think? I mean, they're both bad, but if you want to compare it, I think last year
Right, but the fact of the matter is he's still making those ginormous mistakes in the playoffs, in Game 7s, and that can't happen.
No.
I mean, look, the only way this guy's going to stay is if the Leafs pay him $5 to $5.5 million, and no, I'm not giving him a raise after this year.
I'm not either. We know what Jake Gardner's capable of, but I do agree with you. Why would we give him a raise when... Sure.
And to be totally honest, even if he wants to take a discount, I don't really know.
A discount, yeah.
So it depends how much we're talking.
Listen, right now he's making 4.25. If he wants a discount, hello, obviously.
I understand that, but you got to realize, no matter how much you're paying the guy, if that's a guy out there in Game 7, do you want that?
Well, if we have a Sheldon Keefe.
Because you got to realize, with the way the stupid playoff format is, Tampa's always going to be number 1 in the Atlantic Division. It's just the way it is. So what does that usually mean for the Leafs and Bruins? We're pretty much going to be facing them every damn year.
Or you could see maybe someone like Montreal or something.
But
or Florida.
assuming things stay the same, and assuming Montreal still kind of hovers at the spot they are right now, with Kotkaniemi now having surgery on his knee at 19 years old, but you got to try to find a ways to beat that Bruins team. So bringing in a little bit of size might not be a bad factor. You brought up Tyler Myers. It's a good example, but Tyler Myers is going to want some money.
Yeah, and in this offseason, I know Zaitsev played okay in the playoffs. I
think he was pretty good, to be honest.
He wasn't a liability. He was an AHL player. He wasn't great, but he wasn't bad. Jake Muzzin really contained him for being bad.
Muzzin was bad early very early in the playoffs in the first couple games.
No, in Game 1, but other than that, Game 2, everyone looked bad. But Game 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 7, he was fine. But Zaitsev proved to be an NHL defenseman.
Yeah, he did.
He's not great, but he's an NHL defenseman.
Look, for the past 2 years, people have been questioning him and saying that he's not a great player, he's not a good defenseman, you paid him a lot of money.
Which he isn't.
I get that, I understand that. But seeing him in the playoffs gave me that little bit of hope.
Because he's paired with Jake Muzzin. That's a huge, huge factor of it.
Okay, all right, so let's go. You fast forward into next year, right? Let's say like that combination you just talked about as Muzzin and Zaitsev is a thing. Who plays with Riley? You run into that question. Is a guy Tyler Myers going to be a guy you fire in there or not? I don't know. Or a trade.
Trade, or a Muzzin can step up with Riley, and then you could graduate someone like Rasmus Sandin, Timothy Liljegren from the Marlies that could be sent, third pairing, maybe even second pairing, who knows? But we're all frustrated right now. We all have to really, get our heads together and take a sober analysis of this whole situation. It's only been 2 days. We're all still angry. Third year, right? I mean, including the Capitals, we haven't won a playoff series since 05.
04.
04, excuse me.
Against
Ottawa.
Yeah, that's when Matt Sundin scored the overtime.
And we are now the Ottawa Senators, because I remember in the early 2000s, Ottawa could never beat us in the playoffs.
And
now,
the Boston Bruins are the Toronto Maple Leafs of that decade.
Right. And we are the Ottawa Senators of that decade. So it's.
So do you want to go around the league, maybe?
Yes, because let's just touch
on the other games.
Yes.
And the rest of the series.
Yes.
That's finished up. I mean, I think the last time we talked was were all of them over except for the Washington series?
No, Vegas and
right. What a game that was, eh? Game 7.
That was crazy.
Woo, baby, controversy.
Yeah. That was crazy. It was.
What are your thoughts on that whole?
Well, let's just go back here to the I see it. Okay, so obviously we got the first round. Here we go. Okay, so let's start with the West. Dallas beating out the
Nashville Predators. I said Nashville was going to win, or Dallas was going to take it home in 6.
I said Nashville in 7. Well, originally I said Nashville in 5. That's crazy. I mean, they're a sleeper team.
Yep.
They're a sleeper team, and with the play of Ben Bishop right now, they can go I don't know about all the way. Maybe definitely past the second round. Who are they going to be facing?
St. Louis. Ooh, that's going to be a fight, man. Both teams finish up the year well. I don't know.
That's going to be a fight.
And then you have San Jose and Vegas, and let's talk about that. Or no, sorry, Winnipeg, St. Louis. Did we already talk about that?
We already talked about that. Calgary, we already talked about that, yeah.
Ooh, what a Game 7 that was. I mean, what are your thoughts on that 5 and kicked out? That 5-minute major and kicked out?
I didn't see it.
It wasn't a hit to the head, but it's the fact that his head hit the ice and he was bleeding and it was rough.
That was Pavelski, right?
Yes.
Who hit him? Marshall? No, it wasn't. I don't know who hit him.
I want to say like Cody Eakin. No. Is Cody Eakin still on?
Cody Eakin is on. Cody Eakin is on the Golden Knights. So
I think it might have been Cody Eakin. If I'm wrong, whatever.
Yeah. Well, that was a huge. But listen, Vegas shouldn't have even got there in the first place. You were up 3 goals.
They were also 3-1 in the series.
Exactly. So I feel bad, but it's like, nah, you should have finished them off. So and
the fact that on that 5-minute major, San Jose's down 3-0 in the third period. They have had no offense whatsoever, and then on that 5-minute, they score 4 power play goals to take the lead. Jonathan Marchessault ties it up, sends it into overtime with less than a minute to play, and then Gaudreau scores the overtime winner. I mean,
Gaudreau.
Gaudreau.
Okay, I don't know. But yeah, now this team right here can go all the way.
San Jose's damn good, man.
Look at their defense core.
I picked San Jose to get out of that series, by the way, in 7 games. So just get a heads up there.
Oh well, hats off to you, sir. But I think that San Jose Sharks can go all the way and beat. Because who are they going to be facing in the second round? Colorado. I mean,
well, Colorado surprised Calgary as a lot of number 8 seeds surprised number 1 seeds.
This is San Jose's Achilles heel.
Is this the first? Sorry, excuse me. Is this the? I'm trying. Oh no. So other than San Jose, isn't it that? No. You know what? I think it's the first time that all division leaders
are
lost.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, it's
that's
true.
incredible.
And all wildcard teams are in.
That's amazing.
So San Jose's Achilles heel, like I was mentioning, is Martin Jones. If Martin Jones can have an average at best save percentage, they can potentially win the cup.
Oh, yeah.
Martin Jones needs to step up and get a 9-10 save percentage, and they'll be fine.
Right. Now, let's go to the Eastern Conference, and we were talking about the Leafs, we were talking about the Bruins, and all that stuff. Now, Carolina beating Washington in overtime yesterday.
Guess who assisted that on that goal?
Justin Williams.
Mr. Game 7 himself.
And the funny thing is, for Washington, Justin Williams didn't really get a whole lot done in Game 7s, but you also got to look at and say, well, TJ Oshie was gone, and a guy they really relied on last year in the playoffs, and for most of this year, Michael Kempany. I know.
No.
You know, they re-signed him for a long term.
He was out 6-7 months.
Yeah, so those are 2 huge losses, and Washington ends up losing in double overtime.
Now, I would think that the better matchup, like let's just say that Washington moved on.
Wouldn't it be funny to see Carolina and Columbus play in round 10? That's just 2 teams that no one ever talks about, but it's going to be really interesting.
So like I was saying, if the Washington Capitals got past Carolina without TJ Oshie, that would have been, excuse my language, but a shit show for them against the New York Islanders. I like this matchup. It's going to be more competitive than a Islanders-Washington series.
Yeah.
An Islanders-Carolina series is going to be hectic.
Look at the way the playoffs look now. Boston, Columbus, Islanders, Hurricanes, Blues, Stars, and Sharks, Avalanche.
The last, I think, I actually saw this. The last team to win a cup out of this thing.
The Bruins, wasn't it?
The Bruins in 2011, and then you had, I think Carolina in 06. I know the Sharks never won it. I know the Blues never won it. Dallas never won it. No. Dallas won it.
It was a long time ago.
In like 98.
Yeah.
And Colorado won it in 96.
All that.
And Columbus never won it.
No,
Columbus never won a playoff series. God damn it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's gonna be quite the play. And the cool thing is, one team is probably. I'm hoping that one team is gonna, find a way to win their first Stanley Cup ever. And I really want to see that. And I think, as you said right off the top of the video, the podcast, you asked who's a Columbus fan, and you know what? I want to see John Tortorella do good, man. That guy has gone through hell in Columbus and through his entire career.
So out of any of the teams, you know what? It would be nice to see the Islanders win.
I don't want them to go on. I would love to see a Columbus, Carolina conference finals, and then see like Colorado and Dallas. Wouldn't that be nuts?
I think we can all agree that in the Stanley Cup Finals, we would love to see. Personally, I would like to see St. Louis versus Columbus. St. Louis has been around the league for 50 years. Well, sorry, more than 50 years. They've never won. I don't even think they made it to a Stanley Cup Finals. That would be awesome.
Now, do you want to quickly, guess what's going to happen here in the series?
Yep. Well, we'll do the predictions, then we'll move on to basketball.
All right. So Boston Bruins and Columbus, and Boston has home ice the entire way through the playoffs if they do. I'll go all the way. So, what do you think?
Jeez.
I say Columbus. They're feeling amazing right now.
No, don't just say Columbus because we don't want Boston to win. We're being realistic here. Boston's a good team.
Yeah, they are.
Just knowing that Columbus stacked up in the trade deadline.
I say Columbus in 6.
Ugh. I'm going to say Columbus in 7.
They're going to win in Boston in Game 7.
Yeah, you keep saying
well, I'm just saying, man. Leaf fans know well enough it's not easy to win a Game 7 in Boston.
Yeah, but that's whatever. Yeah, but I think Columbus, they have the momentum. They rested for a good solid week after beating Tampa. Now, the Islanders versus the Carolina Hurricanes.
I don't know, man. Two teams, like Carolina finished up the year real well. Obviously, came back from a 3-2 deficit against Washington to close out that series in double OT yesterday. And the Islanders have been sitting there a while. So
I'm going to say New York in 5.
In 5?
I think so.
I'm going to say the Islanders in 6.
Okay. I think that whatever team the Islanders face, it would be Carolina or Washington. I think the Islanders would have just steamrolled.
Yeah, they're playing really good hockey.
Islanders in 5, Islanders in 6. So it's going to be Columbus, regardless, the Islanders are going to make it to the Eastern Conference
So we'll go to the Western Conference here in St. Louis versus Dallas. I'm going to say St. Louis in... I'm going to say St. Louis in 7.
No, I'm going to say St. Louis in 6.
Okay.
I'm going to say St. Louis in 6. Dallas has looked good, but I think that just the amount of talent on that team.
Now you got San Jose and Colorado. I mean, look, we could say it's in here.
Listen,
I know. We've already made our predictions before, and they have completely gone off the wall, as probably everyone's have.
It's funny. The only series I got right was the Boston series for the Leafs.
God dang it. And so what are your expectations here? I think San Jose is going to take it in 6 games.
You know what? I'm going to roll with Colorado.
Really?
I'm going to, just the way they steamrolled the presidential, well, I shouldn't say presidential trophy winners, but the leader of the West in the Calgary Flames, I think they're going to win in 6. Wow. I'm going to say Colorado in 6. I'm going to say the Western Conference Final is going to be Colorado versus St. Louis.
Like, you want to talk about
what?
How go back to the playoff standings there.
Yeah.
And how there are quite a few former Leafs in the mix right now. For the Islanders, you got Matt Martin, Leo Komarov, and Lou Lamoriello. You've got St. Louis. You got Tyler Bozak in there.
I think Dallas. You have Roman Polak.
Yeah, you got Roman. There you go, Roman Polak on Dallas.
Isn't John Mitchell still on the Colorado Avalanche?
I don't know. I don't even know if he's still around, man. I don't even know if that guy's still around. But nonetheless,
Alex Steen,
former Leaf. Yeah. I mean, like it's crazy.
I'm just trying to think of any. James Reimer isn't on St. Louis or is on the Sharks.
No.
Well. Better luck next year. Leafs are going golfing once again. Now let's switch over to a Toronto team that has not disappointed us.
The Toronto Raptors close out their series against the Orlando Magic, winning in 5 games, as we all kind of expected that to happen. And the cool thing is, the Raptors were the first time in franchise history took a 3-1 series lead, and for the first time in franchise history, won a game in 5 games.
First time in franchise history to take a 3-1 lead?
Yep.
What happened with the Wizards 2 years ago? We swept them. Oh no, we swept them.
We got swept, dude.
No, against the Wizards, we swept them.
No, we didn't. The Washington Wizards.
We swept them in round 1.
We played the Wizards last year and won in 6.
That was it. No, yeah, that was it.
We won in 6.
Right.
We won both at home, then we lost both on the road. And then you won the game at home to take a 3-2 series lead, you won Game 6 on the road. Yes.
No, I'll take your thing for it. I'm going to look it up now.
Go ahead. But for the first time in franchise history, the Raptors had a 3-1 series lead. For the first time in franchise history, they won a series in 5 games.
Wow.
And it's nice to see. It's amazing to see guys like Kawhi Leonard and Pascal Siakam do their thing. And you were talking about Kyle Lowry in the last podcast. Well, Kyle Lowry in that last game in the first quarter had 12 points.
Yeah.
Dominate.
It's true.
He took 4 charges. He had 9 assists in the game. He shot 6 of 10.
So we've
Dynamite.
never swept a team ever. I'm just looking at this here.
Never swept a team. Never won in 5 games.
Wow. Yeah. Hey, I called you out, but you know what? Good on Kyle Lowry for actually performing like an all-star. So we're matched up with the 76ers.
Do you want to talk about that already?
Yes.
Or do you want to talk about the way that game 5, and the way they closed it out?
You already did your game review.
I'm just saying, man. Kawhi Leonard was 5 of 5 from. Kawhi Leonard had 27 points on 8 made shots. 8 shots.
But what else can we say about this guy? He's a great, amazing, unbelievable player.
There's things with Kawhi Leonard we think about, right? We're like, well, he gives you great defense. He's a great guy in the post. He's a great guy on the inside. His perimeter shooting's okay. Then he throws up a 5 for 5 from 3 in Game 5, and we're like, well, that's different.
Well, no, exactly. But we know what Kawhi Leonard's like. He's amazing in the playoffs. We've seen against the Orlando Magic, which is streaky when it comes to defense. And
Spicy P was fantastic in Game 5 as well.
Again, that's what we expect out of Spicy P. Well, yeah, I agree with you there.
Yep.
Now, moving on to the 76ers. This is a team where I don't know what to expect.
I think we can all agree that the round 1 series kind of went the way we expected them to go.
Yeah.
And
this
is where things get interesting.
Yes, this is where things get spicy. Yeah.
Right. They really get Spicy P. The Spicy P sauce is going to be coming out. I'm trying to get your Wi-Fi going because is that the right one?
No, it's the other one.
No, it's not.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, fine. I'll do it.
Or just use your data.
No, I don't have any data left. But I'm just trying to see if this will work.
Yeah, because I was on my Wi-Fi there. The studio's being set up here, boys and girls. But what do you look at when it comes to key matchups in this series?
There are a lot of key matchups. I mean, look, you look at the way...
It's like going from one extreme to the other. Sorry to interrupt, but it's like going from one extreme, facing an Orlando Magic. They got a good couple players, but then you go to the 76ers. Ugh.
Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris, JJ Redick, Ben Simmons,
Jimmy Butler.
This team is not bad. Now...
Seems great.
Raptor fans want to look at regular season numbers and how we did against them. Now, I don't look at those because remember the Orlando Magic, where it was a 2-2 series, right. And the Raptors cleaned them in 5 games and made it look easy.
Yeah, which was expected.
But Philly, the Toronto Raptors, are 3-1 against the 76ers.
We won 3, we lost 1.
Right, and that one loss, the Raptors did not have Kawhi Leonard or Serge Ibaka. So
okay, I wonder if in that game they were resting any of their starters too. You never know.
I don't think so. To be totally honest with you, I don't think so. Maybe it's like a last matchup.
I don't think so.
No, I don't know. I can't find that. But in the end, I mean, look, the Raptors. Like, I'm trying not to be a biased Raptor fan here, but I'm pretty sure that the Raptors should win the series.
Yeah, I think there's no question about it. It's going to go to 7. There's no question whatsoever.
The way the Raptors defense smothers guys, and look. Joel Embiid has not seen Marc Gasol in a Raptors jersey. And I'm sorry, I know we can talk about Joel Embiid being a great player and all that, but Marc Gasol's defense against look, Vucevic is a guy that has destroyed the Toronto Raptors in the regular season.
And we contained them.
He had a double-double in one game, and he had 22 and 12 in one game, and that was great and all, but the next best game was 11 and 8.
So you're saying that the key to this matchup is for Marc Gasol to contain Joel Embiid, and I agree with you.
And it's that and Kawhi Leonard on Ben Simmons. You find a way to control it, because Ben Simmons is like our Kyle Lowry.
He can't shoot.
He's the energy for that. He's a terrible shooter. Yeah. And Kawhi Leonard knows that, so he's not going to let him drive. And we heard Ben Simmons talk in the ear. It is really difficult playing against Kawhi. It's not easy, blah, 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 blah. And this is playoff Kawhi Leonard, people. This is not regular season Kawhi. That's load management stuff. This is playoff Kawhi. We have seen him now over the first 5 games of the playoffs. He is electric.
Yeah. Yeah, he is. And I think that the 76ers know what Kawhi Leonard's about, obviously. And I don't know if they're going to match him up with Ben Simmons.
I don't know. And P. Skills is going to be on Tobias Harris. And I like that matchup, too.
For both, I mean, it's going to be tight, right? Tobias Harris was a trade deadline pickup for them.
I think defensively, Pascal is a lot better than people. People love his offense, and they love his shooting, and they love his rebounding and all that, but his defense is pretty damn good. And then you throw in Kyle Lowry, who's always a junkyard dog. He's always a pain in the rear end. Jimmy Butler and JJ Redick might have a tough time with Lowry. Then you have Danny Green, who's a great perimeter defender. The starting unit is going to be the difference maker in this series.
So not really the bench.
You look at the bench, and I mean, look, the 76ers, let's go through the bench here. We already talked about who their 5 starters are. Let me see if they have TJ McConnell, but I mean, is he a guy that's really going to take over a game?
Jonathan Simmons is a good...
I don't think he's any good anymore, though. He's only averaged 6 a game. He's not anything special.
Amir Johnson, Greg Monroe.
They signed Greg Monroe. Wow. Amir Johnson barely ever played, so he's not going to be playing much. Moose, he barely played.
Mike Scott, I think, is the guy we got to watch out for.
Was he a wizard?
He was a wizard, and he didn't tear us apart, but he was in our head a little bit.
And obviously the big fella himself, Boban Marjanovic. The big fella, the guy who's, what, he's 6'3", 290. That's a big man.
You mean 7'3"? She's 6'3".
Oh, sorry, yeah. 7, yeah. So I'm so used to hockey numbers, right? 6'3" is actually pretty big.
Right. But, I mean, this guy looks...
But as for the bench, if the Toronto Raptors can get a guy like Norman Powell cooking the way he was in the last couple games, and if Serge Ibaka can continue to do the way he was in the last few games...
Now, what's the secret to get Norman Powell cooking?
For him,
consistent.
It's his defense, because that's where he always is. He's always been a good defender. So with Norman Powell, look, you got to give him good looks, and when Norman Powell drives and kicks, the guy's unbelievable.
Yeah,
because he's a smart player. Not only does he drive, and he can tell when the contact's coming, he'll go up for a shot. He was amazing in the last few games of the playoffs. No. Serge Ibaka's just got to be that inside presence. Look, you're not going to block Marjanovic too often unless he's trying to, like, I don't really know. He's trying to pass the ball, because at that height, you're not going to block many shots from that guy. Mm-hmm. But with Ibaka, he's got the mismatch when it comes to shooting from distance and the quickness. Even though Serge's not a quick guy, but compared to this guy, he might have him in that sense. This is where I'm saying the Raptors might have it. I think the starting unit-wise, when it comes to defense, the Raptors are one of the best teams in the league when it comes to transitioning from defense to offense. Right? When they get the stop, they're out and running. Yeah. P-Skill is one of the fastest guys out there running the floor. And that's why this Raptors defense is so tight. That's why they killed the Magic in the last few games, because they tightened up their defense and they just ran the offense down their throat.
Now, with the 76ers, you mentioned defense was a little bit of a problem for them.
Yeah.
Now, you can argue they have better offense than us. I think they do. Listen, you picked up Jimmy Butler, great scorer. You picked up Tobias Harris, great scorer. You already have Joel Embiid, great scorer. Ben Simmons, when he's put in the right situations, he's a great scorer. On the Raptors, you have Kawhi Leonard, who is a great scorer too, but's mainly known as a two-way kind of player. P-Skills is a great scorer, but kind of two-way too. Other than those two players, there isn't that guy that we can depend on points-wise.
If the Raptors can play the type of defense they played against Orlando, they're going to win the series.
Because defense wins championships. And people keep saying it, but it's true. And offense... Listen, you can throw up as many shots as you want, but if someone's on you all the time, it's going to be difficult too.
I mean, like, you look at Orlando, right? They had nobody to guard Kawhi Leonard. You look at Philly. I mean, who can guard Kawhi? Like, who can actually guard this guy?
Yeah.
Now, I mean, or Ben Simmons? No. This guy can't guard Kawhi Leonard. I'm sorry. Kawhi's got the jumper. He can drive. He can shoot the three. Ben Simmons can't do half of that stuff.
Yeah. So... let's get into it here. Who do you have the Raptors? I mean, I think that the Raptors, I know I said 7, but I think that they're going to win in 6. You think 7?
I think it might take 7. I really do. I mean, look, I understand that the Raptors on home court is huge, because they're amazing on home court.
Now, I think the 76ers, can you go to their home and away record?
To the regular season?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Because they swept Brooklyn. Brooklyn won one game, but they pretty much dominated them, even with Jared Dudley being a pain in the ass.
So, yeah, so there you go. 31-10 at home is Philly, and 20-21 on the road.
So kind of average.
You're sub 500, bottom line. The Raptors, 32-9 at home, and 26-15 on the road.
Right. But they had a much better record than the 76ers, so if you take into account. But yeah, it looks good, but it's going to be a dogfight, because this team is not to be messed with.
The Raptors or Philly?
Philly.
No, from this day on, and we talked about it. I talked about it.
The Orlando Magic was.
I talked about it in the Game 5 video. Look, if you're a Milwaukee fan, you just wanted to get through Detroit and move on. When you're a Boston fan, you wanted to get through Indiana and move on. When you're Philly, you wanted to move on from Brooklyn, and for the Raptors, moving on from Orlando. Now is where things get. The contest actually gets important. Look, before,
no disrespect to all these teams in the lower seed here, but I mean, come on. This is when, like you said to mention, this is when the playoffs start.
Now, I think we can both agree on this. The Orlando series was not a matter of winning the series. It was a matter of just like, let's just get this thing over quickly.
Well, it was a matter of how many games we're going to win in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
With this series,
it can go either way.
I don't care. Let's just win the damn series.
Yeah, because you could see going either way. I can.
Yep.
I mean, I could. As much as I don't want it, I could see the 76ers eliminating the Raptors. I don't think it's going to happen, but they can. Listen, I wouldn't think that the Orlando Magic would have to go on some unbelievable 1 in a million chances of beating the Raptors.
Yep.
And the 76ers, it's a bit more probable. I'm not going to lie, because you can't take this team lightly.
It's a lot more probable. They have a lot more weapons on the offense.
So I'm going to say Raptors in 6. You're going to say Raptors in 7. Both Raptors. Now, let's go around the league to the matchup where I think it's a bit more interesting.
Did we talk about it already with the Milwaukee and Boston series?
I don't think we
did. We might have already previewed it because the series were basically over anyways.
Well, we all know that Detroit wasn't even going to win a game. Blake Griffin's actually out for 7 months with a torn ligament in his knee.
Yeah, he fought it out there in game
and he looked like he was done.
Of course.
So we got the Bucks versus the Celtics here. And listen, I know Milwaukee's a great team and all. I know Giannis is unbelievable. I think, now call me crazy here, but I think I got Boston in 7.
Nope. As much as, look, I understand I just don't like Boston teams. I'm not just saying this because of that. But you look at the way this Milwaukee Bucks club is playing. Giannis Antetokounmpo has not only taken his game to a new level, he has become one of the, if not the MVP in the NBA for a reason. Now, the reason being, look, what is Giannis so good at? Driving, right? That's what he's so good at.
Yeah.
What is he surrounded by? 3-point shooters.
Mm-hmm.
You drive, you kick, you knock down your shots. Milwaukee's one of the best teams in the league at shooting the 3. And then you have the MVP. If he's like, well, I see a lane here, I'm just going to put some guy on a poster because he did that quite a few times against Detroit.
But then again, you are comparing this team to Detroit, which I know
I'm not comparing them to Detroit.
No.
But I'm saying that.
But now's the real matchup.
If I'm not mistaken, Boston doesn't have Marcus Smart. If I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he does.
So that's a big loss on the defensive end, right? And I don't know. I mean, I don't know how
you always have to choose an upset when it comes to the NBA.
I don't know how healthy Milwaukee is. I don't know. Brogdon's still hurt. Is he going to be playing in Game 1 though? I'm not so sure as of yet.
I think Chris Middleton's out, or is he playing?
No, he's playing.
He's playing. That's it.
Yeah, so for the most part, other than Brogdon, man, I like this kid, man. This kid is something special. He's only 26 years old. He averaged 15 a game. He shot 50%. He shot 42% from 3, 92% from the line.
Now, Boston is horrible on the road.
And that's where you run into the problem
of,
you're expecting to beat Milwaukee in every aspect at home and then winning on the road.
But I think we were both surprised that they swept the Pacers.
The reason why I think I wasn't surprised is kind of the way both teams ended their year, right? You look at Boston, I think they ended the year playing pretty good ball. They were 6-4 and they won their last game of the season. Indiana was 4-6 and they were kind of scuffling over the last little while.
Right, but Indiana without Victor Oladipo is still an okay team. Nothing to be
really, but who's their star then at that point?
No,
right?
Well, that's true, but at the same token, Boston was a horrible road team. And they beat a team without, they still have decent players on the Pacers. They beat 2 games
now
as we talk. Indiana.
I mean, Kyrie's putting making his play to a totally different level.
Yeah.
But you got to realize that these games were all within 10 points. They were all tight games. Right. Even at home, they were tight games. And you're going from playing Indiana to Milwaukee.
Well,
it's a big difference.
Oh, for sure. Well, it's like when we were facing Orlando, whatever.
And we crushed Orlando in 3 games.
Right, but now we're facing.
Right, I get that. But these are tight games.
Yeah.
And you're going to play the number 1 seed.
You always got to pick an upset when it comes to any conference. You don't believe so. How many games do you think Boston's going to get eliminated in?
I think it's going to be 6. I think it's going to be 6 in Boston. They're going to lose it.
I'm going to say Boston in 7, but that's just me.
The reason I say Milwaukee is because they have the Greek freak, and this guy can take over a series at any point in time.
Oh, I know.
I
just think that sports is crazy. Sports is magical.
It is, absolutely.
And then you can agree that the Boston crowd would be more vicious and than the crowd.
But the problem is, on the road, they got to play the first 2 games. They could be down 2-0 going back to Boston. That could be an issue.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, I'm not gonna lie and say that the odds aren't stacked against Boston because they are. I'm not saying they're not, but you always got to pick an upset and. I just like being different.
So, do you want to go to the Western Conference now? We have those series picked out here. And the Golden State Warriors lost last night to the LA Clippers. Lou Williams had 33 points off the bench.
He's the 6th man of the year, once again.
No question about it. But it's a 3-2 series league going back to LA.
I think Golden State's going to finish.
I think so, too.
I mean, hey.
It went a lot farther than we thought.
The Raptors and everyone in the East will love it if the Clippers eliminate
the Warriors. Yeah, absolutely. Right. Denver's up 3-2 on San Antonio. I think they're going back to San Antonio for Game 6.
I said San Antonio in 7.
They're going back to San Antonio for Game 6 tonight.
It was a huge meltdown last game.
I said Denver in 7.
Listen, Game 5 was a huge meltdown for the Spurs, and
they lost by 18.
Right. I'm still gonna roll with the Spurs.
I can't at this point.
Talent wise, I know that Denver probably has them, but experience and like I said, playoff experience, I think you gotta give it to the San Antonio Spurs.
I'm giving it to Denver still. Those are still my guys.
Denver in 7 or in 6?
I think it's gonna go 7. I think San Antonio's gonna win the next one at home. I think they're gonna win tonight at home. And then the other 2 series, Portland cleaned the house and won in 5 games.
Yeah.
Did you see Damian Lillard?
Yep.
Woo!
He has ice in his veins.
That 50-point shot, the game winner, almost a half court. That guy is clutch. Period.
And then you hear Paul George saying, "Well, it was a bad shot. It doesn't matter. It still went in."
Yeah, whether it was a bad shot or not, it went in the net. You guys lost.
I'd love to see Portland actually get past the first round. I think they only did it
They did.
I said I'd love to see.
I think you said I would love to see.
No.
Okay.
I love seeing that Portland getting past the first round. I think
shutting up Russell
time.
Westbrook, eh?
Well, Westbrook and George.
Yeah, shutting up those guys. And Damian Lillard, who never says a word, goes out there and drops 50 and is like, yeah, we're moving on.
And listen.
And then he does the whole bye-bye thing to the bench. I love it. I love it.
And listen, Portland, if they either get Denver or the San Antonio Spurs, I think they're going to clean house with either team. Because that's what the match is going to be.
Absolutely. I mean, look, you see Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum have been there, done that.
Yeah.
I mean, you run into matchups, right? Like, who's going to be able to guard Jokic? I mean, you would have Nurkic, who's there, but he's injured.
Nurkic on Jokic.
I know, right? That'd
the itch.
a bunch of itches on the team.
Yeah.
But then you go, and I said this. I said it. I'm taking credit for this.
Yeah, you said 5. I said sweep. You said 5.
Houston Rockets beat the Utah Jazz in 5 games.
Once again, this team. They're a good team. I think they just ran into the wrong team.
But
listen,
can we talk about
the Utah Jazz faced either the Denver Nuggets, the Los Angeles Clippers, or the San Antonio Spurs, in my opinion, I think they would have won. But that's just my opinion. I think they just ran into the wrong team.
And you got to give a little bit of oh my god, or like kind of like a I don't know. I'm trying to think of like a word to use for like a terrible shot, but like Ricky Rubio under a minute to play, you're down by 1, takes a corner 3, air ball, game over.
Why wouldn't you pass it? Why would you drive it? I mean,
Rubio's
maybe he
not
had
a great. Like, I'm gonna go to Rubio here, and what's his 3? That's like Serge Ibaka taking a 3 in a big situation.
No, isn't
in the
Rubio
playoffs?
an okay 3-point shooter?
He's never been a good 3-point shooter, I mean, unless he's been fantastic this year. But
why would you give it to Kyle Korver?
31%.
Why?
31%.
They have Kyle Korver.
Well, I think he was probably on the bench. I mean,
well, you throw him out there if you want a 3.
I don't know if he was playing that. He's 39% from 3. But I think anybody got like Joe Ingles, Donovan Mitchell.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Mitchell didn't have a good series.
Seeing Rubio with a corner 3 to take the lead in the dying minutes of a game on the road.
Let's do a matchup prediction. I guess it's not over, but we usually do for the West here.
All right, so you got. Let's assume
Golden State would win against LA Clippers.
Two of the teams that are winning right now.
Yes.
So it'll be Golden State and Denver, as of right now, if it happens.
Golden State in 5.
I agree. I think with the experience and the talent on that team, I think
Portland versus the Rockets.
I don't know, man. That's good. That guard matchup.
No. It's not Denver versus Golden State. It's Portland versus dude.
Oh yeah, they wouldn't play 1 versus 2.
No, it's Portland versus the Denver Nuggets. I think.
No, wouldn't it be Golden State versus Houston? 1 versus 4, and then 2 versus 3. That's the way the West is working. We're playing 2 versus 3, 1 versus 4.
I guess you're right.
So you're telling me the Golden State's playing Houston in the
Golden
next round?
State's. Wow. Okay.
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo.
Wow.
Damn, God. Oh my.
I'm gonna say Houston in 7. I think Houston's gonna exercise their demons and win in 7.
I would love to see it.
Well,
I would love to see Golden State be done.
So you would love, or what do you think?
I still think Golden State is the team to beat because it's the Golden State Warriors, and that's just the way they work.
So Golden State's going to win in how many games?
I think they're going to win in...
You got to say 7. Yeah, I was going to say, you got to say 7.
Yeah, I'm going to say 7. They're going to get Denver and Portland.
Portland in 5.
Damian Lillard, Jamal Murray, the point guard matchup. Now, ideally...
You're really, like...
I can see here...
Okay, this is Damian Lillard. This is Jamal Murray.
Yeah, I get it. Well, as of right now, Jamal Murray's getting there.
Still.
But I can say here, right here on the podcast, and I think I've probably said it to you before, and I'm a Raptor fan die hard, but Damian Lillard is my favorite player in the NBA.
Really?
He's my favorite player to watch. Watching that guy work, and he reminds me of Kawhi Leonard with the no emotion part of it, but watching that guy just have ice in his veins. You see D'Angelo Russell, I got ice in my veins.
Yeah.
Damian Lillard just stands there and is like, yeah, what's up?
Well, no, he doesn't.
I just knocked down 50 and just won a series. I'm not even going to make it.
Basically, he lets his performance do the talking here. So, like I said, I think Portland's going to win 5.
Oh, I don't know about 5. I mean, like 6.
Well, Well, I'll tweet your own. Man, do you want to move on? Vladdy G?
It's about damn time. The Lord has blessed us with some Vladimir Guerrero Jr. baseball after the Jays get a goose egg on the board yesterday with 2 hits. And they're like, all right, I think it's time.
Thankfully, Kevin Pillar didn't do anything.
He had a double. He had a double and then an RBI. The first run of the game in Game 1 was scored by Pillar. And then he came around to score as well. So
that happened to Troy Tulowitzki. Didn't that happen to Josh Donaldson, too, when he got moved?
Have we played Donaldson yet?
I think we did.
I don't think we
did.
First
last year against the Indians.
No, I don't think we played him after that move. And
whatever. It's just Toronto nature for these players to.
And the Jays got the mini 2-game sweep. They got swept against the.
But listen, the Jays haven't been playing that bad over the last.
Look, they had a 6-1 road trip where they play really, really good ball. But then you lose Matt Shoemaker, and apparently Aaron Sanchez is going to be starting on Saturday, which I'm still kind of iffy about. But again, we'll have to see how it plays out. But
Vladdy G.
The story is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is going to be playing for this team on Friday with the Oakland A's in town. And hey, we just swept Oakland, so. Hey, we can do it again.
In town, exactly. So he's going to be starting, obviously.
Oh, yeah, he'll be at third base. Brandon Drury will probably come off the bench, or he'll play second or whatnot.
Or maybe he'll come off the bench, or do you think that Vladdy's starting?
Oh, Vladdy's starting.
What do you expect out of his first, not game, but series? Series.
I honestly
No, series. Not first game, because I don't think...
I would love for him to get his first home run at home. In the first game, I
can't see why he wouldn't against Oakland too.
You never know. It's baseball. A crazy thing happened. He could have been an 0-for-4 in his first game. You never know.
Well, that's what happened in spring training. We thought that, oh man, this guy's the real deal.
He had a rough spring before he got hurt. So
I don't think he's going to get anything this. But hey,
I don't know why.
Not a bad thing.
The vibe I'm getting from Friday is that it's going to be one heck of a ball game. Not just because Vladdy's going to be here, but Marcus Stroman's on the mound. And his last outing against Oakland, he went 8 innings plus 1 batter. He gave up a double to K Money in the 9th inning. But
so now the clock starts right now with
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Yeah.
So how many years does he have until?
I think it's like 6 or 7 years.
Right.
Something like that.
Which will probably sign him before then.
I would hope so. I mean, you're watching all these other players, right, get signed to crazy deals. So
yeah. So what do you expect?
Honestly, I'm trying not to expect things and kind of just go into it with an open mind and just watch. But as for I would love to see him get his first home run this series.
Yeah, sure. I would love for him to get 5 home runs.
Yeah. I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Double, single, how many? Just be. I can see the joy in your face, which we're all.
Yeah, this is the best prospect in baseball right now.
Listen, I don't care what you do, just don't get hurt.
Do we talk about Bo Bichette yet?
Broken hands.
Done for 6 weeks at least. That's tough, man. That's really tough.
Because we could have seen him be a wild card guy, a black.
No, I think with this thing happening to Bo Bichette, I think now his timeline of coming up with a team
is done for this year.
Pushes back. Well, it maybe not totally. Yeah. My thought is if he has a good, once he comes back, because he'll come back about June. Maybe.
Listen, I would be surprised if he was healthy. He would get called up. I'd be personally surprised.
I'm not saying right away. I'm talking about a September call up.
Oh, September.
Because that doesn't start the clock.
It all depends how he comes back from the injury.
Exactly. I think
it's like when Vladdy came back from the injury, he was awesome.
Yeah, he was.
And that's why he's up with the Jays now. And with Bo Bichette, he looked great in spring. I'm surprised he didn't start with the Jays, but that's fine.
Well, I'm not really surprised. It's the fact that he's never played AAA baseball, and you kind of want him. You don't need to rush him, and you don't.
So right now he is in AAA. Like he got injured in AAA.
Yeah. And same with Kevin Biggio. And by the way, can we have a what is this? Yep, there's Pop.
Wow.
There's little Vladdy and Big Vladdy, Papa Vladdy. Beautiful. I'm just going to
doesn't even look like
home run from yesterday because I want you to see what we're going to be seeing. Here it is. Here.
I know I saw that against Syracuse. Oh, yeah.
Absolute shot to the opposite field to the gap. You see where it kind of goes farther, and he crushes it right over. That's opposite field.
So you've never done that when you played ball?
No. Not how many people have. You know, the only guy I know that the power alley was to right center field was a guy like Russell Martin and Josh Donaldson. But Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is the first player in MLB history. And when it comes to prospects and the whole pipeline thing, they give them ratings. And it's out of 80. So the best hitting prospect I think they saw was Bryce Harper, who had a 70.
Yeah, right.
They put Vladdy in an 80. Out of 80.
I just hope it all lives up to expectations.
Well, we're all going to have to wait and see. Tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, it happens.
You should live stream that game.
I mean, all we care about is Vladdy, so much his live stream is one at bat and then turn it off.
Be like, all right, guys, I'll see you back in 15 minutes.
Yeah, and then when Vladdy comes up again.
All right, and then you're streaming for like 2 minutes.
The title's going to be Vladimir Guerrero at bat 1 or at bat 2 or whatever.
Or 5 or 6.
That's terrible.
That's cool. So, do you want to talk about anything Jays, or are you going to move on to the questions here?
Kevin Biggio, the young one in AAA. Look, I think we talked about him in the last podcast, but I actually heard his numbers yesterday, and he went 3 for 4 again yesterday with a home run. He's hitting .419.
This is anything, AA or
AAA. Anything above 300, you're playing damn good and you should be moved up. He's hitting .419. Put it into perspective, since Vladdy's come back from his injury, he's hitting .360.
So those two play on the same team with each other, obviously.
Yeah, they've kind of gone up through the system together kind of thing. And with Biggio, there's a few things I love. He can hit a ton of home runs.
Yeah.
He plays first base, second base, and the outfield.
He's 6'7", right? Or 6'6"? He's a big guy?
He's a big guy. I know that for sure. He hits home runs. Yeah. Clearly, he's hitting for a batting average there in AAA.
Right.
And the big thing I love, and it's the same with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. as well. Actually, his on-base percentage is .500. So bottom line, he gets on base half the time.
Well,
that's good. Stupid.
That's good. Mind you, it is in AAA. But
it doesn't matter. You don't see these types of numbers too often. With Biggio, he has walked more times than he has struck out.
Because players know that he's dangerous, I guess?
It could be that, or he's a disciplined player. He walks a lot.
Yeah.
With him and Vladdy doing that, and Bo Bichette coming up and doing what he does.
So this is like the new Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, hopefully.
And possibly William Nylander as well, with Bo Bichette as well.
Oh, with Bo Bichette.
This might get real interesting really fast.
Yeah, we could see as soon as next year all these 3 players be up.
It wouldn't surprise me if next year. It really wouldn't.
That's why this year...
If Biggio continues to see, Biggio's in that weird scenario right now because Vladdy played quite a bit of AAA ball last year.
Right.
That's why I'm okay with him coming up now. Mm-hmm. But with Biggio, he only played AA last year, and he's only played, 15, 20 games in AAA so far this year. Right. So I don't know if their plan is to even bring him up at all.
Yeah.
Or this year, or if they're going to wait till next year, and if it's the same with Bo Bichette, because he only played in AA last year as well. So I don't know what the...
Right, but just when we have these prospects in the pipeline is great. Again, hopefully now, this is a 3-game or 4-game set against Oakland.
It's a 3-gamer.
All at home. And then next series, who we face?
I think they go to Anaheim.
I want to say Tampa Bay.
Angels? No, I think they go to the Angels, I think. Yeah, they're in LA.
Holy.
Great, 10:07 start. Yippee! Damn it.
Wait, what time are you going to be doing that video at then?
I don't know. People are going to have to get their PJs on, get their hot chocolates, and just
That's an all-nighter. That's like 3 or 4 a.m.
It's going to feel like it, that's for damn sure. And if the Raptors play, it might be fun. Well, the Raptors game will be over by then, so it might smoothly transition into the game. Wait, so
if the Raptors play, obviously a West Coast team, if they make it to the NBA final...
Okay. Game 7 for the Leafs, I was so damn stressed. Pilar's return, 7 o'clock start. Leafs, 7 o'clock start. Raptors, 7 o'clock start. I was going flipping nuts.
You were sweating. Your pants were a little bit moist.
Yeah.
I would be too. You couldn't even use the bathroom. You'd be just sitting in your seat.
No, I'm like, okay, well, this is going to a commercial. Might as well. Oh, wait, no, this one's back. I got to stay here and watch
So you would have your phone on with the Blue Jays. That would be your MacBook with the Raptors and the TV with the Leafs or some sort of
I only had
like
the one TV going, so there was a lot of flipping channels.
So you didn't stream it at all?
No, there was a lot of flipping channels. It was intense.
So it was intense for your TV or remote?
That's why I like hockey, because you have a 15-minute
basketball, it's like 5.
Yeah, you have like a 15-minute halftime, and then you're right back into it again. Yeah. When it comes to hockey, you got these intermissions, and you're like, okay, we relax.
In baseball, you can afford to not watch it for a good hour.
And who knows? It was nice that the Jays, they lost 7-6 in that game. But it was...
right now is crunch time for you, right? Because you're doing all 3 teams.
Well,
and who knows?
Not anymore. 2 more now.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, who knows if TFC wins another championship, you're going to be breaking up the scarf.
Yeah, you already know. That's the way it works.
And if our new team, the Wolfpack, which I didn't even...
Well, just throw my phone across the computer here, fellas. Sorry about that.
And I didn't even know we had a rugby team. If they win the championship, would you get
No.
Why not?
No.
So you're not supporting our football team or rugby team?
I didn't know there was a rugby team until a little while ago. All right, let's get to the questions now. You want to go right there, Austin? It's what we have been waiting for. This is. Hold on a second. I'm totally off there, people. I'm totally.
You were eating when Vladdy got called up.
Yeah. There's the podcast questions. That's what I'm so lost. Oh, I think this is it here.
Are you sure?
There it is. All right, 7 questions. Michael, do you think that the cross-check from Vegas should have been 5 minutes? No. That's my personal
No,
thought. Because
I
it
think
was not an initial shot to the face. It's because his head hit the ice as well.
It should be 2. I don't even know if it should have been 2 or
Well,
not.
I think it should have been 2, but in 5 minutes.
But Vegas shouldn't have even got there in the first place. With they should have won the games. And
nonetheless, no matter if you're bitching and complaining, you're still up 3-0 for God's sakes in the third period,
and then you blew it.
Yeah, you give a 4 on a 5-minute power play. You don't do that, no matter if it meant to happen or not. All right, Stephen W. What needs to still continue and improve for the Raptors to win the series against the Sixers? How many games will it take? We've already talked about that. You say
I
6?
I
said 7. I said 7 for the Raptors.
I think I said no. Sorry, I said 6. You're right.
All right, and we said that, and we talked about defense. That'd be the reason this team will
containing
win.
Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. Yeah. Jimmy Butler's going to rip us apart. Tobias Harris is going to rip us apart. We know that, but just containing those other 2 players is massive.
Michael, if you were only allowed to make one change in the offseason, what would it do for the Leafs?
That's actually a good question. I don't know about a change. Okay, change the relationship of Mike Babcock and Kyle Dubas.
So you keep the same roster.
Yes, not really a trade, but just what Dubas gives Mike Babcock to use that player.
Yeah.
Dubas gave Mike Babcock Nick Batan, whether you like him or not, play him more than a game or 2.
Yeah.
And just the ice time as well. So the relationship of Dubas and Babcock, I want that to be on the same page.
I agree with that, but if we're talking about players I'd say moving a guy like Jake Gardner and bringing in a guy like Tyler Myers.
Or someone that can play with Riley.
Yeah, well, somebody who can do that. Like
Ron Hainsey,
not Ron Hainsey anymore.
Ron Hainsey's not coming back.
Roderick, what's up, man? If you were to rate the Leafs 2018-19 season out of 10, what would you give it? 1 being the Senators season and 10 being the Lightning regular season.
I give it a 1.
I wouldn't give it a 1.
Okay,
I'd probably give it about a 6.
No.
Yeah.
No. Okay, that's like saying the Tampa Bay Lightning. Sure, they had an amazing regular season.
No. See, that's a different story.
Okay, well, we had a good regular season and we got bounced with the first round again. Fine, a 3.
There you go.
Not over 5.
Are all the angry Leafs fans on Twitter, Instagram, and every social media platform justified in their complaints, or are they just overreacting?
No, they're justified in their complaints.
Look, people are angry.
No, but are they justified in their complaints? Because I think they are. I don't think anyone's overreacting.
Look, Leaf fans are complaining about Babcock. Leaf fans are complaining about Nazem Kadri. People are complaining about Jake Gardner.
We're doing all that now.
They're all relative arguments. They all are justified.
So I think they're justified. Yes, agreed. And that's the first time we said that, because we know Leaf fans take it over the top, whatever. But I think this is justified.
Right.
So
Edward, what do you got to say? If you were to rate the Bruins' chances of winning the Cup right now, what would it be? Look, I mean, they have home ice the rest of the way. They're still a very good team. If Rask can play the way he did in Game 7 the entire way, then they could go all the way.
Listen, I would say 80%.
Okay, winning the Cup.
Winning the Cup or making it to the finals?
Winning the Cup.
70. 60.
I say 65%.
I'll say
it's pretty good chance, but
because you're facing,
you never know. Honestly, the people before the playoffs would say the Tampa Bay Lightning had a 95% chance of winning the Stanley Cup, and yet they get bounced the first round and don't win a flipping game. So it happens. Do you want to get to the questions that Mo Bucket sent me on Instagram from the
we'll just
Instagram
do a few,
page?
maybe like 1 or 2. Yeah, that's fine. Because we got to shout out Mo Buckets. Follow Blue Jays Wave. BlueJays.wave on Instagram.
No dot. Just Blue Jays Wave
on
Instagram.
It's no dot anymore.
All right, so here's some of the questions here. Some of the names I might not be able to pronounce and whatnot, but we have, should the Blue Jays get Dallas Keuchel or Craig Kimbrell to replace Matt Shoemaker? Matt Shoemaker obviously done for the year. Dallas Keuchel and Craig Kimbrell are still free agents. That's the way baseball's working right now. They're demanding money. People
Dallas
are like,
Keuchel is Cy Young winner.
Former Cy Young. And Craig Kimbrell, amazing closer for the Red Sox. Gone.
Why not?
I don't know. I don't know.
Are they asking for too much?
So should the Blue Jays get one of them? It's interesting because the Blue Jays are not in the win now mode.
But it doesn't matter.
I didn't understand that, but you're going to have to throw a lot of money at these guys.
Well, we can afford these guys. And
but
now,
would you rather do that and put yourself in cap limbo?
This team needs to be competitive. Now, I'm not saying for more than 3 or 4 years, but give them a 2-year deal at however mil they want, and then they're up for 2 years. I think you should.
All right, this guy asks, when are the Blue Jays going to retire Jose Bautista's number? No one's wearing it. Galvis and Alan Hansen switched it already. I think it should be fairly soon. I mean, he hasn't announced a retirement yet, so I think once that's
What's
done...
he even doing now? He's just sitting at home?
Probably just waiting.
Or is he playing in Mexico? Or
No, he's probably just waiting to see if he gets anything in. By the end of the year, he might announce it or whatnot. But I think they should definitely retire him soon. I'm not so sure. So how hard do you think it? So last, I think one or two more here. How hard do you think that it will be How hard do you think it will be to get a team similar to 15 or 16 90-plus wins? Look, I think
give it time. We have the players in the pipeline.
A few more years, people. Just hang in there. Guys like Nate Pearson, I've talked about him before.
I'm going to say 2 years.
I say 2 years as well.
Not including this year, 2 years. So 3, I guess, whatever.
Yeah. Where do you feel the Blue Jays will be in the standings-wise come October? Will they be a contender? Well, I can answer the second part of the question and say no, they will not be a contender. But where will they be? I think they'll definitely be ahead of the Baltimore Orioles.
Is that
at least I'm hoping so.
Tweet.
But I think this team is going to be like a team that we've kind of got used to seeing, a 75 and 89 type of year, or a 75-win team. I think that's the way it's going to be this year. Maybe even a 70-win team. I don't know how it's going to play out. Yeah. But I think that's going to wrap it up. We got some
for
questions.
Episode 16 of the Teal Sports Talk. 16.
Is it 16?
Well, I said it in the intro, so hopefully I'm right.
Well, I guess we'll have to find out, won't we?
Or was it 17?
No, you're right. 16.
Oh. Got me sweating there for a little bit. But guys, thank you.
On your toes.
But thank you guys for listening to episode 16, season 2 of the Teal Sports Talk podcast. We're going to be back this time next week, Thursday. Wednesday. Okay, that's fine. Wednesday. Stay tuned, James. You're going to be doing a lot of jersey switching, but you don't got the Leafs to worry about.
Yeah, so I'll be talking tomorrow, Jays edition. So I was debating. I was debating doing the Raptors tonight, but we don't know the timing of the game on Saturday.
Oh, of the season preview.
Right, but
it doesn't matter.
We know when the days will be. So I'm not sure if I'm going to do it today because there's no videos today, or if I should do it tomorrow.
Just do it today.
All right,
I would do it today.
I might do it later on today, but I'll tell you guys later on today. Raptors edition is the round 1 preview against the Philadelphia 76ers before they get started on Saturday, probably a Saturday afternoon.
Around there.
All right, and as for the Jays, we welcome Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to Toronto tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock.
Tip off. Puck drop.
Yeah, I'm so used to those, right?
Ball drop.
7 o'clock first pitch at Rogers Center with Marcus Stroman on the mound in Game 1 against the Oakland A's. Thank you guys so much for listening, and Evan and I will talk to you guys next Wednesday, podcast edition. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll talk to you guys Wednesday.
Peace.